Well, the circumstances on the battlefield are becoming so obvious that even the Western generals are forced to admit the terrible situation of the armed forces of Ukraine. Every day, more and more senior NATO officers recognize the fact that the Ukrainian army will not be able to defeat Russia, despite unprecedented military and financial assistance from the West. So, a few days ago, the former Supreme Allied Commander Europe, retired U.S. Army General Wesley Clark, made a rather frank statement. According to him, in 2024, Russia will achieve a radical turning point in the current conflict. Wesley Clark expresses confidence that the final victory of Russia in this war is a matter of time. The U.S. general noted that Russia is quite successfully using the winter period for offensive operations, significantly strengthening its troops due to the large number of people willing to voluntarily join the ranks of the Russian army. At the same time, Wesley Clark admitted that in a short time, the Ukrainian army lost almost all the territories that it managed to capture at the beginning of the summer counteroffensive in 2023. The strategy to weaken Russia with the help of the armed forces of Ukraine turned out to be unsuccessful. This is a real tragedy. Hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians lost their lives in an attempt to exsanguinate Russia, U.S. General Wesley Clark admits. During his interview, the former Supreme Allied Commander Europe also acknowledged the fact that the protracted war in Ukraine is very unprofitable for the United States, since this conflict brings Russia and China closer every day. I am sure that the successful actions of the Russian army in Ukraine give confidence to the Chinese leadership about their plans for Taiwan. Every new month increases the risk that China will begin to provide full-scale military assistance to the Russian army in the zone of the special military operation. Everything indicates that in 2024, after a radical turning point in the Ukrainian conflict, China will launch a military operation against Taiwan, counting on military assistance from Russia, a retired U.S. Army general said. Meanwhile, French military experts from the news agency, France Presse, fully agreed with General Wesley Clark. According to them, military cooperation between China and Russia is only gaining momentum. Moreover, French military experts recognized that the Russian army had completely seized the initiative along the entire front line. The armed forces of Ukraine are rapidly losing their positions in the Zaporizhia, Bakhmut, and Avdiivka directions. Moreover, the Ukrainian army's ground operation on the left bank of the Dnieper River also completely failed. The Ukrainian paratroopers, having suffered huge losses in manpower, were never able to turn the left bank of the Dnieper River into a full-fledged bridgehead. At the same time, French experts noted that due to the munition famine and the active actions of Russian combat aviation, the armed forces of Ukraine completely stopped offensive operations in the Donetsk region, near the village of Velikaya Novoselka. In addition to this, the Ukrainian army also began to lose vast territories and settlements in the Bakhmut direction. In particular, the Ukrainian armed forces lost their positions in the settlements of Kromov, Klishchivka, Dubovo-Vasilyevka, and Bogdanovka. Meanwhile, a member of the Republican Party, the junior United States Senator from Ohio, James David Vance, said during an interview with journalists from CNN that everyone understands perfectly well that Ukraine will never be able to defeat Russia, and that Kiev will have to give part of the territory to the Russians. Moreover, James David Vance called on the White House to quickly admit defeat and convince Kiev to officially transfer its territories to the Russian Federation as soon as possible. At the same time, the US senator admitted that Ukraine has actually ceased to function as a state, and that the future of this former Soviet republic looks very vague.